Welcome back to another segment of Medical Minute. The majority of parents are feeling lonely and burnt out, and recent research shows the pandemic may be a major cause. Dr. Kyle Berkey, a clinical child psychologist and the director of behavioral health outpatient services at OSF HealthCare, joins us now to tell us more. Good morning, Dr. Berkey.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So first off, from the research that you saw, along with an advisory released earlier this year by the U.S. Surgeon General, why are parents seeing a trend like this?
Yeah, so I think I should start by saying this is not really a new thing. It's something that's always been the case, but it's been exacerbated a little bit as we go. And what it really boils down to is when your sense of connectedness and social interactions is less than the amount of loneliness you're feeling and amount of isolation, that leads to kind of this decrease in mental health, as a whole. I like to use the analogy of a bucket. If you have a bucket full of water and you poke a hole in the bottom, the water's going to start draining out. If the water's draining out faster than we're putting new water back in, that leads to that emptiness, that loneliness, that burnout that we're seeing with parents. They need to fill their own bucket.
Gotcha, that makes sense. So how could the pandemic have played a role in magnifying these feelings? Yeah,
so during the pandemic, we had a lot of extra roles added to us as a parent. So instead of just being mom or dad or employee, we now also were teacher, we were also daycare provider, we were also everything. And so the bucket started draining out faster. And unfortunately, like I said, not a new thing, but unfortunately, post-pandemic, we've still kept some of those rituals that we were doing where we're invested much more into our kids and we're not investing into ourselves as much.
Okay, and does social media play a role in this?
It sure does, and I want to be very transparent. I am not a big fan of social media to begin with. I think there's a lot of ill effects that it causes, but really what we're looking at is when social media becomes the social interaction instead of being used as a tool to find social interactions, that's where we cause the problem. Social interaction via social media is never going to take the place of using social media maybe to find individuals to interact with and having face-to-face interactions still.
Okay, so what tips or suggestions do you have for parents who are probably going through something like this?
Yeah, the biggest thing is we need to make sure that you have good balance in your life. We need to balance the role of parent, the role of employee, the role of spouse. So if you're a married individual, it's really important. Invest in that relationship with your spouse. If you're married or if you're single, invest in interactions with your neighbors, invest in interactions with your friends. It's that kind of balance that is really important. And you can use social media as a tool to find those, put it out on your neighborhood Facebook feed that you want to walk with somebody in the mornings. And you never know, you might create a new interaction that you didn't have before.
Nice. So does OSF have any resources that could maybe help parents going through this?
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you're a parent experiencing some of these concerns, the primary care physician that you go to is a great starting point. We at OSF, we have behavioral health providers in most of our local primary care offices. So if you talk to your primary care physician, you will be able to find behavioral health providers to help out.
Absolutely. Well, Dr. Berkey, thank you so much for joining us today. We'll share this entire interview on our website at 25newsnow.com, and we'll be right back after the break.